Jesse Itzler. That should be your inspiration. I think I'm gonna do his half marathon there, but it's all about breath work.
Wait, is this the same guy? This is Bert Kreischer, best known as a famous comedian for performing drunk and shirtless, and in 1997, Rolling Stones magazine named him the top partier at the #1 party school in America. Rightly so, since he would go on to inspire the movie Van Wilder starring Ryan Reynolds. But 25 years later, is it time for a change?
It's noticeable now, right, that he's gaining weight.
Yeah.
Everyone can see it now, right?
You know, it's interesting when he decides to take his lab coat on and off in these conversations. You know, I actually can't answer that as a doctor. Bert's fat as Despite my massive girth, I'm into running. You need to get into the runners. Jesse Itzler. That should be your inspiration.
You know what? Let's hear from Jesse himself.
You don't get lasting change watching a speaker at a conference. You get it by changing your daily routines and creating winning habits, a winning mindset, winning routines.
You got to follow these guys because then they'll give you little tips. He's the one, David. He's the one that the reason we know about David Goggins.
Really?
He moved David Goggins into his house and then wrote a book called "I Lived with a Navy SEAL for 6 months."
So I'm an endurance athlete. A couple of years ago, during my training, I did 10 training runs of 38 miles. And every time I got to 38 miles, I stopped. That was my limit, 38 miles. Not bad for a guy who's 50-something years old. Then I heard on a podcast, I heard about a Navy SEAL on a podcast named Chad Wright talking about how he met this kid at a starting line of a 100-mile race that had only run 5 miles in his life, and took him all the way to the finish line of the 100-mile race by having him repeat over and over, "I will not quit, I will not quit." I'm like, that's impossible. I've been running my whole life. You can't 20X your longest run by saying, "I won't quit." But this guy's a Navy SEAL on a highly reputable podcast. I really doubt he's lying. So I cold call him, "Create your own luck." He says, "I can solve that for you in 2 days." A week later, he's at my house. Chad says, "Today, we're gonna do 3 things and 3 things only. The first thing we're gonna do is we're never gonna give our pain a voice. Number 2, we're never gonna die in the chair. And number 3, no matter how hard life seems today while we're out struggling, whatever our struggle is, we're gonna remember how grateful we are for certain things we have in our life. We got a lot to be thankful for. Every time we come back to one of these loops, we're gonna talk about something we're grateful for." So that day I did those 3 things and I shattered my 38 miles.
And he just talked about how to get back into running. He's really inspirational.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, he's badass. He hit me up. He goes, "You should come do my Running Man, October 17th. It's a running event where they do a half marathon. I think I'm gonna do his half marathon there, but it's all about breath work. It's an outdoor event. The world's biggest sauna is gonna be there. Look at 5,000 acres in Kingston, Georgia.
It's the first festival of its kind, it says, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm gonna do that.
VaynerSpeakers.